London's Covent Garden is one of the world's most popular visitor destinations, with street performers, many shops, and places to eat, with historic buildings and a lovely plaza all around it. The cobblestones paving and the old brick building might make you feel like you've walked back into the 18th or 19th century, when it was London's major food market. That market shut down in 1974, primarily because of traffic congestion in the area made it difficult to access. By the early 1980s, the market that we see today was in full operation. Now the market sells arts and crafts, souvenirs, jewelry, and clothing in these semi-outdoor kiosks underneath the metal and glass ceiling of the pavilion. The activity is continuous all day long and into the evening, with movement of people around, coming in, exiting. It's almost like a controlled chaos or a real festive atmosphere here. Covent Garden is alive with activity and a great setting for people watching with all kinds of characters going by. A place to have some fun, have a beer, get a snack, spend a little money, and take some pictures. It's small enough and well organized in the layout that you're not going to get lost, but big enough to provide all sorts of nooks and crannies and little shops and kiosks to explore. The pavilion and piazza are the centerpiece of Covent Garden, but the area called Covent Garden extends a few blocks further in each direction, almost all the way over to Leicester Square and Soho, and down to the Strand. It takes only 5 minutes to walk over from Leicester Square, so I'll bring you on a nice route over there, as I have done many times before leading my groups through London. Right now we're in Leicester Square. It's a beautiful patch of greenery in the middle with theaters, restaurants, cafes, bars, pubs all around it. And I'm going to show you the direct way to get to Covent Garden from this place. We're just going to go up to the corner and take a right, and that'll take us right into Covent Garden area. Passing a classic pub with outdoor tables, the path takes us out of Leicester Square and back to Charing Cross Road, a lively, busy street. Now you'll have a choice of various lanes that will take you towards Covent Garden, as seen in this illustration from Google Earth. It's a good neighborhood in which to go wandering, where you'll find several quite popular pubs with lots of folks standing out on the sidewalk in that typical London style, enjoying a pint, a fine place for visitors to mingle with locals. You might even find your way through the back alleys of Covent Garden to the Lamb and Flag, a famous pub founded back in the 17th century. A place for lively conversation with an intimate setting. It's a favorite for locals and visitors. Another pleasant route from Leicester Square to Covent Garden is walking along Cecil Court, lined with antiquarian bookstores, delivering a charming taste of old-fashioned London. A few of these side lanes are for pedestrians only and lined with historic architecture, making it seem like you're back in a country village. An alternative route, 2 blocks south, would bring you past Rule's, London's oldest restaurant. Established in 1798, Goodwin Court is a narrow alley with another classic restaurant, Giovanni's. So we have already entered Covent Garden. Covent Garden is not a garden, it's a neighborhood. And it's a wonderful spot. It's about 6 blocks wide by 6 blocks long. And we'll get to the main section, which is the Piazza, where they've got some craft markets and some street entertainment. This is the garden of St. Paul's Church, and this is the front of St. Paul's Church. This is about the only garden in Covent Garden. It's a very popular spot at lunchtime. The locals will pick up their sandwiches and bring it over here and have a little picnic. On a nice day, this place is packed. People sitting on the grass over here along all the benches, and it's just a lovely little hideaway that you don't normally see. A couple of entrances here, and the one we came in. We're going to walk around the outside of it and go through the exit along the side of St. Paul's. The path leads us right around to the main street performance area of Covent Garden, just next to St. Paul's Church, that we shall see a lot more of later in the program. Well, now we've really arrived in the center of Covent Garden. This is called the Piazza, And behind me in front of you is the old fruit and vegetable market. This is where Eliza Doolittle was selling her flowers back in My Fair Lady. It was an active food market and then converted into the craft market that you see. They've got some craftsmen today. Each day there's different craftsmen come in. So you can come back 3 days in a row and see a variety of different goods on sale. As well, there's street performers. You hear some noise down there. And there's also often musicians from the London School of Music performing. And the other hall in the lower level. And restaurants all throughout, cafes, ice cream shops, and little boutiques as well. This piazza itself was designed back in the 17th century by an architect named Inigo Jones. He's an English architect, and he was very much influenced by the Italian style. This was the first piazza, the first public plaza that was built in London, and you can look at it as a Florentine piazza. The Royal Opera's been here for a long, long time, but it was renovated and reconstructed, and they added this beautiful colonnade, and so that has now nicely completed the whole piazza. The columns and open space form the piazza that goes all the way around that central pavilion, creating a wonderful urban ensemble. The open space of the piazza is a place for walking, for observing the sights around, listening to some music from the street performers. It's the heart of the area. The pavilion has entrances all around it and is divided in 3 main sections. The central hall is more narrow with some shops and cafes, and it's flanked by the larger north and south halls with more shops, restaurants, and performing areas, with crafts for sale in that apple market we saw earlier. From above we see the pavilion in the center with 2 large halls and the smaller one in the middle, surrounded by the piazza. Overall, it's a delightful place to wander around with a surprisingly large amount of things to discover within the one building. Between shopping, eating, and listening to music, you could easily spend several hours here. And of course, there is no admission charge to walk around throughout the area. The magnificent glass and iron roof was added to the building in 1875, with construction of the building itself completed in 1830. But there has been a market in this same location ever since the early 1630s. And there were street performers here from the very beginning. These buskers provide a variety of entertainment, both outside the building and inside the halls. It's totally free, but they always welcome a nice tip, which they richly deserve for putting on these high-quality performances in such picturesque settings. They can't just show up and act, they need permission to perform here, which they get after passing an audition, in which they're given just 3 minutes to present their talent to a panel of judges. Then they have to reserve a time slot, which is very competitive. People from all over Europe apply, sometimes months in advance, because this is one of the world's top street performance locations. And then they're allowed a 30-minute show 4 times in 1 week. The lower level in the pavilion is generally for classical music. We'll hear them play in a few minutes. Jubilee Market Hall is another important building on the piazza, selling a big variety of items. Tuesday through Friday, it's a general market with souvenirs, jewelry, luggage, key rings, t-shirts, umbrellas, scarves, watches, sunglasses, everything you could possibly want, all in the one building with the kiosks owned by individual traders. On Monday, it specializes in antiques and collectibles, and during the weekend, it's an arts and crafts market. The building opened in 1904, constructed in what's called the Edwardian Baroque style for the purpose of selling flowers. It was the last market building erected in Covent Garden. There is so much to see in the rest of Covent Garden that many visitors completely overlook the Jubilee Market Hall, but it's fun to explore. On the east end of the piazza, there's a rather elaborate portico held up by many columns and lots more pillars surrounding the entire pavilion. You might even get some free samples. There is a major access to the north side of the piazza along James Street, another pedestrian lane, with some shops, street artists, and more buskers. It's a festive place, like walking through an outdoor party. Beer and food is available at several high-quality pubs and restaurants here, and it's a place where the pedicabs are allowed to hang out and offer you a ride after you've been doing all that walking around in Covent Garden. Maybe catch a scenic ride back to your hotel. Or you could take the tube, which you'll find at the end of James Street with the Covent Garden station. The area of Covent Garden extends beyond the pavilion and piazza. For example, on Longacre, another busy place for shopping and eating, that would lead you straight back to Leicester Square, just 500 meters away. Or take Neal Street, a pedestrian lane leading towards Soho. Earlier I mentioned controlled chaos, and now you can see how crowded Covent Garden can get. Would you believe 44 million visitors a year, making it one of the most popular tourist attractions in the world. About half of them English, the others international visitors. London is the third most visited city in the world with 22 million annual visits, because it is such a wonderful place. Covent Garden's also fun at night. Buskers are still performing, with most shops staying open till 8 p.m. The pubs and restaurants are open much later, featuring about 60 pubs and restaurants in this general Covent Garden area. London's social and economic life has played out for centuries, night and day, in this human-scale public space. We're going to wrap up our visit with a minute of lively music from the pavilion. We frequently upload new movies, so please subscribe to our channel and click that little alarm bell so you'll be notified. And if you enjoyed the movie, how about a thumbs up? And we always welcome comments down below. Or if you have questions about the destination, make note and we'll answer them. Thanks for watching.